Going on, everybody? Upper Bay Podcast back for another episode. Per usual, if you are new here, thank you so much for checking us out. We really appreciate all the support. If you're not new here, thanks again for listening to another episode. You guys' support means the world to us. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And guys, we're trying to grow the YouTube channel like crazy. So if you don't follow us on there, go to our YouTube. It's linked in all of our bios, and hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell. You'll get a notification when we drop our episodes. We shoot for every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's just me today. Mason and Rich are prepping big time for the first tournament on the Bay tomorrow. So they're getting everything ready. They're doing a little bit of pre-fishing, getting their rods and gear ready, getting the boats ready. So I gave them the night off. The generosity at my heart is unreal. But no, those guys are going to crush it tomorrow. And we may even have a special live episode coming for that. So yeah. So today, though, we have a really interesting situation here. So if about a month ago, the ATA show happened, and just me out of curiosity, I started checking things out, seeing what was new on the market, see what was coming out, seeing what the big hits were. And I came across this company, Yellowstone.AI, and I was like, that's interesting. And I watched a video on it, and it's a trail camera company. Now, there's a lot of them out there. So obviously I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. You know, these guys were creating a lot of buzz. I saw a lot of different YouTube videos. I saw some articles on these guys, and I did some reading. Naturally, I wanted to reach out, so I got in touch with Yellowstone, and that would have been Ben, and he is the owner of the company. And we reached out, we talked, and we decided to get him on the podcast here, and we're going to talk, all about his company and figure out what's going on. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Ben here to the front stage. See if we can get you in here, Ben.
Hey, Shane.
Hey, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us, dude. Hope I didn't botch that intro too much.
You nailed it.
So, you're from Wisconsin, right? That's where you guys are out of?
Correct. Yep. Born and raised.
That's awesome, man. What's the weather up there like right now?
So this weekend we got like 30 inches of snow.
Man, God.
We were snowed in for a couple of days. Kids were off of school 3 days in a row. So started to pull our hair out a little bit, but we're back. The sun is out. The snow is melting. So things are moving along.
Man, what time of year does the snow like fully melt away out there?
So you can never be too sure until you get to about Mother's Day. And then, then you feel pretty good. Usually May is pretty snow free. Just depends on the year.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. We've been snow free for a while down here in Maryland, but today was about 70 degrees. It was beautiful. We're about to get a little pop up rainstorm roll through, but it feels like springtime here, man. So I'm sorry you're stuck in the snow.
We'll take it. That's okay. Part of living in the north.
Yeah. Man, how did your season go? What did you guys do? A lot of deer hunting up there? You guys prepping for turkey season? What's going on up there?
So yes, we had a pretty successful deer hunt this year, and I'm a dad now, so my hunting is more about helping my kids find success. And my oldest was 10 this past season. He shot himself a pretty nice 9-pointer.
Wow.
That was I don't know, gives you more joy to see that next generation be successful than any deer you could shoot yourself. So I would say a pretty darn good year. Freezers are full. We're eating venison almost every day, so things are good.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more than that. How old's your son?
He's 10. He turned 11 about a month ago, but he was 10 last season.
Nice, very cool. And is this his first season, or has he been hunting for a while?
This is his second season. He shot a couple of does the year prior, but this was the first year that he started to get really into it. And now he's a spoiled little hunter. Thinks he's going to have success every time he steps into the woods.
Yeah, dude, I hear people talk about that all the time. And my first deer was a nice buck too. And it is one of those things. It's like you don't want them to have like too much success where now that's like all they aim for, shooting that big one. But at the same time, like it is nice to make it memorable when they shoot a real nice one. So it's a tricky line. I have 2 boys of my own. I got a 5-year-old and one that's still just a baby, but I'm looking forward to those hunts myself.
Very cool. Yeah, I think it's great. Like this, what he shot him during the youth Wisconsin has a dedicated youth hunt like a lot of states do. And so he's into it now. He's going to be a lifelong hunter because of that success, I think. And so, yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You guys prepping for turkey season at all? Is that something you guys do up there?
So a lot of people do. I personally don't. Grew up as a deer hunter, never really got into turkey hunting much. But a lot of friends do. At some point, perhaps my kids will want to get into it with grandpa, but I personally don't.
That's all right, man. I mean, a lot of us do it down here. It's the same. Turkey's a weird thing here because, like, we didn't really have any for a long time, and the state reintroduced them here. And so, like, once they reintroduced and they had a population, it's like, man, it's like everybody around this area just became like this hardcore turkey hunter, just so mad at them for some reason. But we like to do it, and hopefully we'll get a few successes this year. But yeah, that's all good, man. That's cool that you're taking your kids for it, and you can't ask for much more than a freezer full of meat, man. I mean, that's the whole perks of it right there.
That's right.
I apologize for my voice in advance. I've been battling a cold all week, so if I get in a coughing fit or if I take a lot of drinks of water, I do apologize for that. I'm starting to get over it, but I just still got all that congestion in my chest. But is show season about over for you? What does that schedule look like?
Yeah, we're getting there. We've been hitting it pretty hard since early January. And now we've got one more show next weekend, pretty big show in Wisconsin Dells. And then we got a little break, and then there'll be some things here in the summer and fall as well. But
gotcha. Was ATA was that the first one? Was that the big kickoff?
That's a big kickoff show of the year for us.
Gotcha.
And this is actually our first year being at ATA in general. So just getting to meet all the people, meet other vendors, a lot of dealers, a lot of great conversations.
That's really cool, man. The show season as a business owner, especially in this industry, that's got to be so stressful, dude. That has got to just be that's like that grind for whatever it is, a month, 6, 8 weeks, whatever it may be. That is tough, dude.
It is, but that's just part of the territory. You gotta build your brand. You gotta get the word out. You gotta start meeting with people, and it's a fun way to do it. The days get long, but there are a lot worse things in the world than sitting around talking to people about hunting and hunting technology. So
right. Yeah, that's awesome. And like, I know you guys as a business pride yourselves on, customer support. I mean, there's for a business owner, there's not too much better than being able to, meet face to face with all the people that support your business or want to support your business and shake some hands and have conversations. Like you said, I'm sure it's long days, but it is nice to get out there and be with the people that, are supporting you.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things we love is, somebody bought a couple cameras last year. They come back to the booth. They're like, love your cameras. I need 6 more. I'm telling all my friends about you guys. So that's a pretty rewarding part of the business for us.
Yeah, that's badass, dude. That is seriously. I mean, what you guys are doing is especially like I've noticed since ATA this year specifically. You guys seem like you're starting to really boom. Like, I'm sure you've had support since, the beginning, and I'm sure it was slow at first and, it's climbed over time. But I've seen some really big names specifically in the industry, like really blasting you guys, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's been a pretty cool last year or so in terms of growth. And like we sold our first cameras in 2020, did a couple of years of research and development before that. And it was really kind of slow and steady growth early on, almost all word of mouth. At that time, we were just a small family business. But we would take care of customers. They would tell their friends, yada, yada. And now after years and years of kind of refining the product, getting it to a point where it is a really solid product, good technology. Now, all of a sudden, it's like it took us 7 years to find overnight success, but it's been a fun last year or so as our brand recognition continues to improve.
Well, look, man, congratulations to you guys, because that's a long journey, and that's what I went to school for business, and you learn about entrepreneurs all the time. That's that is the struggle. That's the hardest part is it took 7 years. It took 7 years of dedication, time, effort, money, and just grind for an overnight success. And it obviously has paid off for you guys, but there's a lot of people that quit in that first to seven, that 1 to 7 years. And it just goes to show, how much you love what you're doing to never give up on it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a fun ride. If we didn't love it, it would be hard to wake up and get after it sometimes. But it's
Right.
hard. Most days don't feel like work, even though they're full of many hours of work.
Yeah. Nah, that, like I said, man, congrats to you guys. That's truly something special. How did you guys, so give me a little bit of background on Yellowstone as a whole. Like, kind of just tell me, where the idea came from, where the name came from, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the idea, like, been a hunter into hunting and fishing ever since I was a kid. After a decade or so career working for a few different technology companies in a number of different roles, I always had this drive to find a way to combine my love of technology with my love of hunting and fishing, and kicked around a few different ideas, and then finally kind of zeroed in on trail cams as one that, you know, as a user of cell cams, I could quickly see like some frustration points and ways that I can make things better. And then that's kind of how we started, and it's been a pretty fun ride ever since. You asked about the name. I need to come up with a better story. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm a product development guy at heart. So I just haven't found a better name yet. So that's the story I'm going with. The best name I had at the time.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that, man. Hey, listen, there's a lot of brands out there that are in the same boat as you. Like you said, not everybody's a marketing person, man. You just got to throw something at the wall, and what sticks sticks. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no
Yep.
shame in that game.
Yep.
But no, that's cool, man. Especially from the trail camera industry, because obviously trail cameras have been around for a long time, but probably since 2019, I think, they really started to take off, especially with Tacticam specifically. They kind of broke through and they were kind of paving the path for a more affordable trail camera that was offered cellular capabilities and stuff like that. So, and obviously they're a huge company, right? So it takes a lot of guts and some balls to do what you did, and force a small business in there to compete with those guys for the affordability side of things. That's pretty awesome of you guys to do.
Yeah, thank you. We never back down from a challenge, and it's a competitive space. There's a lot of entrenched providers that all do a really fine job. I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about any of our competitors, but we always just kind of thought that if we carve out this niche that's maybe a little bit higher quality, a little better technology, a little bit more durable, and like we take care of our customers. We just treat them right. If there's an issue, if they've got a question, we answer the call. We're here in the U.S. We kind of thought that we could carve out a little niche, kind of filling some of those voids that maybe some of the competitors have maybe gotten away from a little bit.
Dude, the customer support aspect is incredible for you guys. I think on your website, I think it said, like, under the customer support tab, I believe it says, like, like maybe like a 5 minute response time, something along those lines. But like me personally, so when I received the camera, I ran into some issues with the shipping, and I just reached out, and I mean, same day, immediate, like almost immediately got right back to me via email and had everything solved. I actually, what it was is I was having issues with activating the camera. Um and your customer support team logged right into the camera. I guess they're going through the hardware and or through the software, and corrected that issue almost immediately. And it was so it was like a breath of fresh air to be able to actually talk to somebody and get it taken care of and resolved, instead of like me emailing on a Friday. Well, I don't hear back from the company till next Wednesday. It's like I needed to get that thing out that weekend and start getting it running. And it was like that. It was beautiful, man. You guys are just crushing the customer support, which I appreciate. tenfold.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And yeah, like we try to value the time of our customers. Like that's really what it comes down to. We know your time is valuable. The last thing you want to do is sit on hold for a half hour and then get transferred to somebody overseas that can't really help you anyway. So like we just try to treat you like you're a neighbor, like you're a human being, and take care of you.
Right. Yeah, that's good stuff, dude. And there's some other features that I'm going to get into here shortly. But what I want to like kind of get some information on is when you first started, like what was the biggest hurdle to get over? Was it like the manufacturing of it? Was it, the development side of it? What were your biggest hurdles when you started?
Yeah, good question. So manufacturing development weren't terrible. I would say the biggest hurdle was really getting people to try and trust this brand new company that they never heard of before. It's like you go with the devil that you know. There's some phrase like that. I don't know, but you're using a product that you don't love, but you know it, you understand it to some extent, so you're reluctant to try something new. And so that was the hardest part. Like, even if our product is better than what you're using, getting people over the hump to switch was a struggle early on. And now, like, we've been around long enough, people are familiar with our brand, and like a lot of times they can go talk to a friend or a dealer or somebody to get a trusted third party opinion. But early on, that was just a kind of a struggle, just to get people to trust this new company.
Yeah, that makes sense. That is tough. Everybody's so brand loyal these days. And especially like, I mean, especially when you're a small company, it is tough because everybody's like, hey man, I can get a Tacticam for 150 from Cabela's or Bass Pro, and I know it's going to work first time I put it out, and yada yada yada, and so that is a good point to make. Yeah, I'm actually honestly surprised that like, I mean, I have no business background. I don't own a business or anything, but especially a technology business. But I would have thought manufacturing would have been a difficult hurdle. Just like, I mean, how are you getting I guess the case of it, the shell of it? How are you getting that manufactured? Are you doing that, overseas? Is that done
Yep,
locally?
good question. So the cameras are manufactured in China. At some point, we want to manufacture them here in the U.S., maybe even in Wisconsin. But we've got to get to a point where we get costs under control a little bit more, and like ultimately, we've got to keep our cameras affordable for everybody. And right now, China is the best place to do that. Although we're looking at some other options as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, dude. No, I mean, every business that ever has to manufacture anything is obviously looking at China first before anywhere else. I mean, it's hard. Unfortunately, it's hard to beat that price. Obviously, everybody would love for it to be done in the U.S. As the patriots that we are, but sometimes the costs. It is what it is. But yeah, that's good. That's cool, man. And I even saw some pictures from when you guys started, and it looks like the camera has transformed tenfold since then. Like, was the first version, was it a cellular camera or was it just a standard SD camera?
Yeah, so first version was a cellular camera also. We've been all cellular from day one. We really believe that's certainly the future, and cellular and satellite connected cameras. So we've been cellular since day one, but we learned a ton. Like, obviously, we did a lot of research before we launched our Gen 1 camera, but then we learned more than we ever thought we could have from just getting customer feedback on that first generation camera. What features should be improved? What are the weaknesses? What are the pain points? Where's water? Where's moisture getting in? And so we learned a lot from that first generation camera, and we took all those learnings and put those into the Y2 that you see there.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's I figured it. I figured that was the case. I mean, with a product like a trail camera, I mean, you have to field test it, right? There's no way you can just put something together and go, yep, that's good. It's got to be field tested. I mean, were you guys just blasting those things out to anybody that you could when you first like the first box that ever came in? You're like, here, just take them. Like, is that what you guys? Was that the tactic?
Basically, yeah. Always everybody that we know is a hunter. Like, try this thing. Tell us what you think. How do you like it?
Right.
Yep, exactly.
That's funny, man. It is cool. That's why it pays to have a lot of friends and a lot of family that hunt, you know.
That's right.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about is the accessories that you guys have too. So, dude, your lithium packs are insane. I mean, I know it looked like, you know, the first gen was the type of camera where the batteries are like you open the flap door and the batteries are right there on the back wall.
Yep.
Whereas this new one, the batteries are in a pack itself. You can use the AA batteries and then slide the pack up in, or you can get the lithium pack. But dude, the lithium pack for your Y2 is incredible. I mean, I mean, now granted, it's been warm here, so I didn't have a time to test it in the severe cold weather, but I could already tell just from how many pictures I was getting a day because I was putting it on every second trigger time, just so I could really test out how much the pictures were going to eat up the battery. And I was doing picture and video at the same time. And I was doing it in an area where, there's 40 deer on a corn pile at one time, pretty much all night long. And that lithium pack it hasn't dropped one bit, dude. It's incredible what you guys have done with that thing.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. And our goal was really, like, obviously you use a cell cam so that you don't need to go and disturb the woods. So you can kind of monitor and scout from a distance. So we needed a power supply that could keep up. And that was actually one of our big learnings from our Gen 1 camera. Most AA batteries can't keep up with the demands of a cell cam over an extended period of time, especially in cold weather, especially if you get a lot of volume or you want to run video. And so that's kind of one of the new things with our Y2 is the inclusion, or like the option to add a lithium ion battery pack that will ideally get you through. Our goal was get most people through an entire hunting season without having to go touch your camera.
Yeah, the ability to be able to purchase that from a consumer side is, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like you said, you want to spend as little time in there messing with stuff as possible. So to have the ability to buy the package deal where you can get the camera, the solar panel, and the lithium pack, that camera, potentially could run all season long, in the right conditions. But if not, I mean, for an additional, whatever it is, I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but $50 or $60 for the lithium pack itself. You could have one at home ready to go, and you could just slide in, and that's all you got to, that's all you got to change. Is just as a consumer, that's all we could ask for, man.
Yep. Awesome. And yep, you're correct. $50 for the battery packs.
Right. The one thing like that I really love about your cameras is the built-in GPS, dude. So tell me, like, so for Tacticam cameras specifically, and I don't know about the new ones because I haven't run the new ones yet that they've released, but from what I understand, all cameras have a built-in GPS, right? As soon as the camera turns on, it sends a ping, it's got a mark. But most of these cameras, don't continue to track the camera, right? It just tells you, where you set it that one time. So, like for my guys that do this podcast with me, they're public land guys, right? Cameras get stolen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People want to be able to track down those cameras or, prosecute the people that took them. And like with Tacticam, I know specifically because we've gone through this before with these guys, is if you have a camera stolen, you have to email them and then they have to put you on a list. And then once they get to you, then they can look into it and try to see if they can track your camera. But if it's been off for so many days, they can't do anything about it, blah, 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 blah. Whereas your camera, it's actively tracking GPS. Was that something that you had planned on doing off the jump? Is that something that, you've learned from the people that were testing it? Like, hey, this needs to be like an added feature.
Yeah, good question. And so I'll correct you, and then we'll talk about kind of the build up to where we are now. So okay. Our GPS, it doesn't track you from minute to minute. How it works is the camera will update coordinates once a day, and then every time it's turned on and off. So I just want to make sure that all your viewers are clear and we're not misleading anybody on that.
Right. Fair.
But the importance of a GP of getting accurate coordinates automatically is, I think, a couple fold. One is where's my camera? Is it stolen? Whose house is it at? Like tracking a stolen camera. The other is like now we've got a map page on our app, so you can see where all of your cameras are, and that's automated. You can now start to kind of put pictures with coordinates. We can overlay weather data so that we can start to turn all of this into more intelligence, and not just help you like get cool pictures and videos, but also like help you become a smarter, more effective hunter along the way.
Yeah, that's great point bringing that up. And I'm sorry I didn't bring that up, but that's what I noticed since I've been messing with the app and looking at the pictures is, up in that top left corner, you're getting all that kind of data right there. And like barometric specifically is so important, for some of these diehard deer hunter guys. They're really looking for that. They're really trying to pattern those. Okay, he was here at this camera at this time, but why was he here in the daylight? And then you can start picking that data apart. And some of these guys are like, some of these really successful guys, that's specifically what they're looking for. That's what they want to know. So, that's great that you guys are adding that into the app and allowing people to be able to kind of use that data to pick apart how they want. I just thought that was, really cool about the whole GPS.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing, since we're on the app, is you have the ability to mark photos as bucks, right? And I have, here pretty much every buck is shed, so I haven't gotten a good use of it yet. So obviously when you mark a picture as a buck, you can filter down the list and just show buck pictures, right?
Mhm.
If you've marked it. Can the app eventually learn to do that on its own? Will it self-identify the bucks on camera and kind of filter those into itself?
Yes, good question. So that is part of our roadmap, some AI, species detection, antler detection, things like that. We don't have anything like that in production currently, but it's something that we're continuing to work towards.
Okay. And if you got to that point, do you think it would be able to identify specific bucks?
Yes, great question. I think the answer is yes. And it's just a matter of making that that user interface kind of clean, and how do you like interact with that information. But AI species detection, object detection in pictures continues to get better and better. So
Yeah.
that is certainly part of the roadmap as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. So obviously, like for many people that don't know, you kind of have to train AI. You have to like kind of teach it what to look for. We're this is totally off topic, but we're kind of using it at my job in construction a little bit, specifically in like post construction videos. We used to have to go through post construction videos of like storm drains, stuff like that, and identify defects or issues with it. And now we've enrolled this program where we don't even have to look at it. The camera can identify itself, but we had to go in behind the scenes and kind of teach it, like show it, hey, this is a crack or this is a hole or whatever. And then after so many, it just learns it on its own. So, I could see how you could, it could have the ability to do that. And it would be cool if you could like go into the app, let's say, one day you get 3 or 4 pictures of a buck, of the same buck, and you could just right then like hit a button, buck, and then like name that buck and do it on all the pictures, and then it'll kind of examine the photo however it does and teach itself like, hey, okay, this every time we get a picture of this, it'll go into this folder for this buck name.
Yep, and automate that so you don't have to remember what buck is what. Yep.
Dude, AI is a beautiful it's a beautiful thing, man.
It is cool. It's fun to be able to mash all the latest technology with hunting and the outdoors.
There's a lot of guys that are probably like just so over the amount of technology that's kind of taking over. And in some places I am too. But I mean, how much cooler can it get when you've got an app and a camera that'll, self-identify whatever you want it to?
Yeah, exactly. It just makes it, I think, more fun, you're more successful, more interactions with friends and family. Like that's really what it's all about, is sharing those cool pictures and videos.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, there's a million hunters out there that every morning during hunting season, when they wake up, they're looking through their app for their camera, and they're like, okay, like they're scrolling through every picture. Okay, he was in here at this time. Oh, that buck was in there. Oh, that buck was in there. Now you don't even got to go through all that effort. You can just go right in. Eventually, you could go into the app and okay, where was the big eight at last night? Oh, he was here, 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 here. You gotta love that, dude. Listen, I don't know how to develop technology or anything like that, but I love using it.
Yep, absolutely. I think one of the biggest hurdles is just getting people to trust it. Most hunters, I think, are still going to go picture to picture to picture because just at least until the technology proves itself to be reliable. But yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, that's how I mean it definitely is a learning curve no matter what it is, for anything in general. There's always a learning curve, but I think if you just make it as streamlined as possible for people and like you said, once people trust it, like it's just going to be a no-brainer. Especially for the affordability side of, this camera specifically, right there. Cuz that camera, correct me again if I'm wrong, but the Y2 is currently listing at 150 by itself, and then you can get the accessory package for how much, Ben?
Good question. So that camera right there is 125 bucks. We've got a
I'm
wide
sorry.
lens version coming out in May. That will be 150. And the accessories are $50 each. You can get a bundle with a solar panel, 2 battery packs, and a camera for 250.
So you said there's a wide angle lens camera coming. So what how much more field of view are you getting with that?
Good question. So our standard one camera that is out currently is a 60-degree field of view, which is pretty typical for a trail camera. The wide lens is 100-degree field of view, so almost double from left to right, almost double from top to bottom.
Wow. That's going to be beautiful on a field edge somewhere.
Yeah,
My God,
yeah,
you're going to go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. There are certainly like specific situations where you'd want a wider field of view. Certainly, like you lose some detail as you get farther away from the camera, but there are a lot of use cases where you kind of want those extra 40 degrees of view.
Yeah, that's gonna be killer. I bet you guys sell a lot of those because there is a lot of food plot guys out there that are, they want to examine the whole thing. I know there's some, higher price cameras out there that are doing 360. And I know a lot of those food plot guys are want to get those, but I mean, you can't go wrong with, 100 degrees to look at a whole food plot. You put that thing in the right position, you're gonna get, side to side.
Yep, absolutely.
And the quality thing, dude, like so your camera specifically will do 6K photos, 1080 video.
Yes, correct. The photo is, I'm going to say, like around 6K. They're 12 megapixel, which translates to something between 4K and 6K, a little better than 4K.
Gotcha.
And then videos are 1080p with audio.
Yeah, the video. So I run a couple old Tacticams, so I don't run the video on those too much. But obviously, I was playing around with this camera, and I ran the video the whole time I've had it out, probably about a month now, a little over a month. And dude, the video is awesome. Like the first day I got it, when I got it finally set up, I really wanted just to mess with it, so I set it on the counter in here. And my little dude loves playing baseball, and we have this little squishy ball we throw back and forth. And it was taking videos of us throwing this thing back and forth, and there was no, like, you could see the ball perfectly. There was no motion blur. You could hear us talking plain as day. The microphone in that thing is incredible. Everything is just so spot on. I mean, chef's kiss to that thing. You guys have nailed the video side of that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Glad you're enjoying it.
And I've seen you guys put like your social media, your Instagram specifically. I mean, you guys post a lot of videos on there, and I'm sure are being submitted by users or by yourself or whatever. But some of these videos are so cool, man. Especially you guys. I mean, they're getting a lot of animals that we don't have around here, so I enjoy watching them. Like, man, this is sick. It's so cool.
Yep, for sure. We have a lot of people around the country that send us videos, and yeah, that's one of the cool parts of the job is just seeing what animals are where, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool, dude. Um, and like I said, like even though you know I don't know exactly like what like everybody's either looking at it on an Android or an iPhone for mostly, right? And you're getting a really good quality picture on the little thumbnail, so you can identify very easily in the thumbnails like exactly what you're looking at. But if when you request that HD version and you download that, it is so crisp, dude. And now if I were to like, let's just say, I go pull my cameras at the end of the season or I get them out of the woods and I throw that SD card in my computer. Are all those so all those photos, they're going to be in better quality than like what you're getting on the phone?
So they're better than the thumbnails. They'll match the HD version that you request on your phone.
Gotcha. And the service itself, you guys are using all, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile towers?
Correct. Yep, and US Cellular as well.
Okay. How does that work specifically? Like, are you finding that being able to tap into those towers, you're getting service in most places where other people are not?
So I'd say a number of our competitors on their current generation camera are multi-network. So we're not the only ones out there doing that. But it is really helpful. Like just a couple of years ago, you had to pick a Verizon camera or you had to pick an AT&T camera, and you might not know what's going to be strong. Networks change, towers change. And so now that you've got access to basically every major tower within range, now all of a sudden we get a lot of guys who are like, I can't call you from my camera, I can't text you, but the camera sends pictures just fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you like, and you don't have to answer this if I'm prying too deep, but like, do you have to work with all those companies individually to be able to access their towers?
Good question. So we've got a couple different wireless partners that we work with that do some aggregating of networks for us.
Okay.
So we don't necessarily have to touch every single one of those networks. We just have a couple different points of contact.
And will the camera itself, like let's just say I'm in an area that's got a Verizon tower and a T-Mobile tower, will it determine which has the better signal and tap into that? Or is it kind of using both?
So it's typically best signal, and there's a little bit of a hierarchy of network signal quality. You kind of step your way down. I'll spare you the wireless engineering. Say that for another day, but basically whatever is in range and whatever's really strong is what the camera will grab onto.
Gotcha. I always wondered how that worked. Where I live specifically, like once you get out of my house off of Wi-Fi, like the phone service is terrible. We don't have a tower anywhere close to us. So like I took it outside, um, just to kind of look, flipped open the panel and was looking at my signal bar and all that. And like when I'm in a place where I have no 5G and like one bar on my phone, I'm getting, a green cellular signal on the camera, which was beautiful, man. Like, like you said, like, people are saying they couldn't call you or couldn't text you, but they're still getting pictures.
That's right.
And I've hunted farms like that, dude. I've hunted some farms where when you're in the bottom, you're in the dead zone. So, this is going to be a game changer.
Yep, for sure.
You guys deal with that a lot? I bet there's a lot of dead zones up there. Start getting into the backwoods.
So there are, and like generally the cameras, I'd say in general connect better than people would expect, but there are certainly still places where you just can't get a connection, and then you go and you put the camera somewhere different, or like we have a pretty generous return policy, so people can, if you're not sure about coverage, buy a camera, try it out, send it back if you don't get a connection, type of thing.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, so it's wireless connection is as good as these cameras are, can still be a little spotty in certain places.
Gotcha. Yeah, dude, you're so to kind of topple off of that, and kind of bring back the customer service thing, dude, your lifetime warranty, that's got to be a majority of what separates you from the rest, right?
So that's one of our bigger differentiators, and I imagine you can feel that camera. It's a little bit more industrial grade than what you might have used in the past. And so, yeah, that lifetime warranty is is the thing that a lot of people have run another brand of camera, and it works well for a year, and then you hit month 13, get into year 2, year 3, all of a sudden things start to go to hell a little bit. And now all of a sudden there's a company with a lifetime warranty, especially at an expo when they can actually like feel the camera, feel how solid it is. That is, I'd say, one of the biggest things that's driving our growth is that warranty. The warranty kind of probably coupled with just some advanced technology that a lot of others don't have, customer support, kind of all combined to fuel our growth.
Yeah, that's good. And what with the lifetime warranty, I mean, are you guys just replacing anything, like anything at all, like, or does it have to still kind of fall within a range of stuff?
Yeah, so we don't believe in fine print. We don't believe in giving people a runaround when they have a claim. How it works, basically anything in the camera, if it fails, if it breaks, we replace it.
Awesome.
Some things like antenna that snaps off, or if a woodpecker pecks a hole in your motion sensor, those are things that we can ship you. We'll ship you one at no cost. Send us a picture of the broken one. We trust that you're an adult. You're not trying to screw us over and get a free motion sensor cover. So we'll send that to you. You can pop some screws out, make that swap on your own. If it's something deeper in the camera, like for whatever reason it's failing to connect, or there's something more extreme going on, then you send us that camera. We send you a replacement. Typically, we do it in reverse order. So very often we'll send you a replacement before you send us the old one back, just to minimize your time without a camera.
Right.
And then the one that's not working, that one becomes our problem, and you have a camera that is now working.
That's awesome. I mean, let's be honest, dude. When you're mass production and manufacturing, and you're shipping all over the place, and you're dealing with all kinds of different things, like, and it's electronics, like stuff's gonna break. It's inevitable. And to be able to have the confidence as a consumer to say, okay, look, I'm not just gonna trash this company because so with this part broke, or this part broke where I got it and it wasn't activating, or if it wasn't going through the setup process or whatever, to be able to reach out and, have you guys either fix it or replace it, no questions asked. Like, I mean, you guys, that's going to be a huge thing that the next several years, especially because you're booming right now, like that's going to pay dividends like crazy.
Yep, absolutely. And it seems like a lot of companies, not just specific to trail cams, but a lot of companies, like if there's a warranty claim, like that's kind of their opportunity to put up the stop sign, make you do a bunch of extra work, pay a bunch of stuff, and get kind of pissed off at that company. Whereas we kind of look at it as, we're going to use that touch point as an opportunity to re-earn your business for the rest of your life. And we're going to go above and beyond and do everything we can. Because like you said, they're electronics, they're outdoors in the elements, like month after month, year after year. And sometimes things happen. As much engineering and that has gone into these cameras, like things still happen. And
Right.
we recognize that, and we're going to take care of you when that does.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Kudos to you guys for doing that. Seriously, because I mean, it's not easy as a small business owner. It's not easy to have to eat that $125, $130. It's at the end of the day, that's coming out of that's coming out of somewhere. But it means more to you guys to have the customer happy, obviously. So
Yep, absolutely. And like I mean, that's just kind of how we run our business from day one. And like our customers are fantastic. They're friendly. They tell their friends about us, and like we feel like we owe it to them to take care of them and make the situation right with whatever we got to do.
yeah, and I've like seen some stuff like so your monthly data plans are a little bit pricier than some of the other guys for sure. But when you take that, I've seen some guys like their data plan is a little bit pricier in Tacticams or whatever. But knowing that even though I'm paying a little bit more a month, and at any point if something goes wrong, I could get that camera replaced for free. It's a no brainer. It's literally a no brainer, and I don't see why that would ever be, that problem of itself is it's going to go out the door. People are going to get over the fact that, your monthly cost is a little bit more or whatever, because if a bear rips this down, or if, it stops sending you pictures or whatever, and they can get it fixed like that, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yep, for sure. And like, we make no bones about the fact that we are not the cheapest. It's a competitive market, and a lot of companies have kind of worked their way down on data plan margin to a point where now margins are razor thin, and we've seen a number of companies go out of business as a result of that. So our approach is a little bit different. We believe that we've got to make enough of a profit to stay in business forever, so that we can be here to help you with your camera. That said, like, the extra that you pay, yeah, you get a lifetime warranty, but beyond that, we take a lot of pride in providing more value. So we can resolve more than half of all troubleshooting issues remotely without sending you out to the camera, with some of our kind of more advanced engineering, debugging, logging capabilities. And so the punchline is, yes, you pay a little bit more on your monthly data plan, but we're saving you time, we're saving you gas, we're saving you the hassle of chasing cameras that aren't working, because ours work really well, and when they don't, we can very often fix them remotely.
Yeah, that's big time, dude. Like, and I'm pretty, times are tough. I get it and stuff, but most hunters are not. Once they get the product in their hand and they see what you guys are about, and they dealt with customer service once or whatever it may be, like, it's going to be a no brainer for most guys. And I want to go back just real quick. You were saying, like, once you get that product in your hand, you can feel it's a little bit hardier. I definitely noticed that the second I pulled it out of the box and I put that lithium pack in there, I was like, okay, it is definitely a little heavier. And when you go to pop that latch to get the down to like the interface panel there, that it was a lot stiffer. That handle is a lot thicker of plastic than any of these other cameras I've messed with, which I really like, because I have a bad problem with these Tacticam cameras where the back pieces on them that go against a tree where the strap slips through, they always break on me, dude. Always. That's like a weak point. And to have a hardier product in hand is also a big time deal too.
Yep. Awesome. Glad you noticed that too.
I saw that you guys had on the website that they're kind of bear proof. Did you guys? I gotta know. Did you actually is that tested? Did you guys like feed these things to some bears, man?
So our warranty covers bear damage, and you would be shocked the number of videos that customers send us from their cameras of bears at their camera, messing with it, trying to rip it down, doing whatever bears like to do to cameras, and the camera continues to work just fine. Maybe an antenna breaks off and we got to send them an antenna, which we do at no cost. But then they send us the video of the camera still working after the bear attack, which gives us a good smile.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've always heard that bears love to mess with cameras for some reason, and I've seen pictures of cameras chewed up and smashed on the ground and stuff. I I saw it on the website and I was like, man, that's kind of a crazy claim. Like, I wonder how they, came up with that. They just put a whole bunch of near a bear den. It was like, all right, let's see what happens here.
Yep. Lather them up with salmon and peanut butter. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, field testing at its finest.
Yep, that's right.
Well, we'll kind of wrap it up here. I don't want to keep you too much longer, buddy. But where do you? Obviously, you kind of mentioned that you already have a newer wide angle version coming out. But what is the next 3 to 5 years look like for you guys? What is your future goals?
Yep, good question. So we take a very long-term approach with the business. Some of the new tech that I can foresee kind of coming out over the next few years from us and the industry in general. I think one is a satellite connected camera that would then open up locations that don't have any cell connection at all, which I think is kind of going to be a game changer for the industry. I think you'll see, like we talked about, AI, species detection, individual buck detection, leveraging AI to just make that experience better. Maybe it's power management on the camera. Maybe there's a lot of different applications, but I think it'll be kind of a mix of hardware improvements with satellite connectivity and video quality, along with software cloud type improvements.
Very cool. Very cool. I like what you said there about like a satellite based camera. So are you essentially like, are you like, would it be essentially like a camera with almost like built in like Starlink in it?
Yes, yep, something sort of like that. Exactly.
That would be really cool. That would open things up for like a lot of the Midwest, big game hunters.
Yeah, and like most of us hunt. A lot of people hunt in cell range, but there are a lot of people who don't. A lot of
Right.
wildlife research takes place outside of cell range, so
Right.
excited about the doors that's going to open once power consumption and form factor kind of work themselves out.
Are you guys finding that you're dealing with some like wildlife research, agencies or anything like that?
So we are, yeah, and that's a growing part of our business as well as like, and that's one that has been, I'll say, kind of tough to crack into. They all, a lot of them, like, they've got established partnerships and they got a camera that they like, but we're starting to win some pretty big opportunities, and that's just like a hunter. Like somebody like tries your camera, they like it, they go and tell all their friends. So
Right.
some pretty exciting opportunities coming up there.
That's very cool, dude. That would be, I mean, if especially if you guys started growing like on the research side of things, like where you're in other countries, like that would be really cool to see.
That would be cool. We like to keep it simple. We'll stay focused here in the U.S. for now in North America, but at some point branching out internationally would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, I'll tell you what, man. You got a customer for life out of me. I've actually have like I said, I've been running it for about a month now. The Y2 there, and I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it is simple to use. It's a great product. It delivers quality photos and videos. I have nothing to complain about. And I will add one thing. Um, Specifically, I know that people have complained about this with Tacticam, especially during the summer months or like the spring months on a field edge. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but like on a dewy day, like a dewy morning or a hot humid night going to morning, you get a real fogged lens first thing in the morning, especially in like an open area. And I've had that camera, I've had your camera running, and I've had a Tacticam running kind of side by side. I was kind of comparing like which one was taking pictures more, which one was triggering quicker, quality stuff like that. And there were several mornings where we had reached like 80 degrees here like last week. It was a little bit more humid on the humid side, and the Tacticam was fogging up in the morning and yours was not. So dude, that I'm telling you, I have dealt with that so much on like a crop field during the summertime, and it is so annoying when you wake up to just fuzzy pictures that I can't tell what I'm looking at. So
Yeah,
that is huge for me.
You know something is there, you just don't know what.
Right. Yeah, it's great, dude. You got it's a killer product.
Awesome, awesome. Appreciate that.
Where can people find you? I don't know if you want to throw out your socials out there, your website. Are you guys in any local stores in the Wisconsin area? Are you planning on branching out to any big box stores?
Yeah, good question. So we sell on our website. We are also in a couple dozen, maybe a few dozen at this point, dealers, mostly in the Midwest, but kind of working our way nationwide. And I imagine we'll be in hundreds of brick and mortar archery shops, gun shops, shops like that by the end of the year. That's one of our big pushes this year, and really fueled by our meetings that we had at ATA. And now that people are getting to know our cameras, all of a sudden, a lot of our shops want them on their shelves. So
very cool. Where are you have active reps around the US right now, or were you just making a lot of those connections through ATA?
So at first it was just like our staff at ATA and inbound interest from dealers on our website. And now there's a sales rep group that we work with that has a lot of partnerships with retailers.
Very cool, dude. Well, good for you guys, man. Listen, my wife is a small business owner, so I love seeing a good success story, man. There's nothing better than it, and you guys like I said, you took on a tough area, that was already pretty established, and you guys are just, you kick the door in and you're starting to take over, and I love to see it, man.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Shane.
Yeah. Thanks again, dude, for having us on. Is there anything you want to throw out there before we close it up?
You asked every question that I could possibly think of. You deserve a raise.
I'll make sure I tell my boss that. Nah, but seriously, no, thank you so much, man. I know time is of the essence, and it's a Friday. We want to start drinking some beer and enjoy our night with our kids, and I really appreciate you being with us here.
You bet. Thanks for inviting me, and we'll talk again soon.
Yep. All right, guys. It's the Upper Bay Podcast again. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure to give us a follow. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.